I didn't get the letter, and it is true. Dealing with the aftermath of the attempted overthrow of the Constitution of Kenya by criminals and dangerous people who almost burnt the Parliament of Kenya, we have a job to do. And we are not going to relent. I know there are people who want to politicize that exercise. We will be extremely firm and neutral. And I am informed by DCI that high-level prosecutions will ensue any time from now, of including political leaders who financed, and we have evidence they financed people to loot shops, to kill Kenyans, expose them to danger, and we cannot countenance the kind of mayhem we saw in July and June, for whatever reason. And that's why I've said this job is a bit, it's a very unpopular job. We will do it. So we are going to prosecute high-level people who assisted criminals to harm other people, to destroy infrastructure. And they even made an attempt to actually bring down such a serious institution like the Parliament of the People of Kenya. I submit.
Thank you so much, CS. And lastly, Waziri, I had mentioned to you that we discussed and we had a supplementary question, which of course you did reply, and I read the reply in Parliament. But taking into consideration the public interest in it, the missing of an MCA in Wajir County. So I don't know what different...
Honorable Chair, I have not gotten that request for statement. I'm just hearing it today. The first time I heard about it is through you, Chair, when you told me the member for Eldas would request an answer, a response on that. I want to plead with the committee to give me time to prepare a statement. I'm aware of the matter, but I need an updated, verifiable statement. I am aware of what happened, and I'm aware that some progress is being made to make sure there is accountability. But I am afraid, Chair, I will not have a quality statement because I was not prepared before this meeting began. I submit.
Maybe I will give Kenan to respond, Waziri. But I think I was honest to say that you did reply the first statement, which actually the members were not satisfied. They asked me through the speaker to look for updated, as you put it, which I did talk to your officers yesterday. But I don't deny the fact that maybe the notice was too short for you to. But maybe, I don't know whether the MP for Eldas will comment on that.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Waziri. Waziri, we all understand that security is very dynamic, very complex, and highly sensitive. That notwithstanding, this is the 16th day an elected leader is missing. We all understand, Waziri, Kenya is a member, a responsible member of the international community. And over the years, we have prided ourselves as a security hub, as a conferencing hub, as leading everything. But we are forgetting that in this era, we have social media as one of the emerging arms of government. And this is the reality. We have lived with the three traditional arms. The first arm, you may not agree because you are a member of the executive, is parliament, the legislature. The executive and the judiciary. Right now, we have the social media effect, we have the NGO community, and many other emerging arms of government. What I really don't understand is notwithstanding the definitional issue. In my mind, as a leader who has been around, I don't know whether I have your attention, sorry. In my mind, as a leader who has been around, who's familiar with the modus operandi, the level had even modus vivendi of our security agencies, which you had. You are the civilian face of the Homeland Security. When such a high profile, me I'm persuaded is abduction, and it can have two faces. When we have put all these efforts to project Kenya, to promote Kenya, locally, regionally, internationally, and even our forces are there in Haiti. Why is Haiti there in that state? Because of the effects of goonism and gangsters and everything else that the administration then failed to act on. Is it what is happening in Kenya right now? A step towards that direction. Because a leader has been abducted, a leader is missing, to use the police word. A leader cannot be accounted for, yet to date, other than the mere OP acknowledgement in Makadara police station, we are yet to see a high-level response from the security agencies. That compounds the challenge in this era, Waziri, of constitutional accountability, adherence to the rule of law, and accountability. You have used the word constitutional accountability. By now, we expected that every day we'll be getting progress report. I do not want to downplay the comment that you have made, that you're making some progress and therefore you'll issue a comprehensive test, because we also understand that sometimes some of these things require a lot of delicate handling. But what compounds, Waziri, put yourself in the shoes of the voters of that elected representative, the family, the relatives, his representative who is talking to you. No statement, nothing, business as usual, nothing is happening. So Waziri, I want to give you lead questions, which you also understand. On 6 August, this particular state officer, leader, was summoned by the County Security Committee Wajir. For whatever reason, I learned this recently. And they have every right to interact with everybody. The same person, on 10th September, the entire Homeland Security heads were also in Wajir. On 11th September, the gentleman traveled to Nairobi. On 13th, he went missing. He was abducted. The venue, the location, it's as a result of our collective efforts that we have CCTVs everywhere. This honorable member called for the service of an Uber driver. He has made a statement, he has made an affirmation on, under, oath, which I also tabled through the chairman before the House. So Waziri, and I know you are a lawyer, an astute lawyer, criminal responsibility is individual. I do not want to delve into that. But equally, we must also be accountable to the due process of law. That due process of law is what we are questioning. I want to plead with you. And I will say this without fear, without favor, without any contradiction, without an iota of doubt. And you know I'm an old, seasoned, experienced legislator and I've been around. If this particular leader has committed any crime, he's supposed to be before a court of law, not in detention, not in the name of abduction. What you have done, the achievements that you have made over the last 2 years, as the substantive CS internal security, for those of us who have been around, is commendable. But some of these silly actions, you can call them rowdy officers, overzealous officers, you can call them of lack of whatever name that you call them, completely destroys that big image that you have been trying to build. And I am also alive to the sensitivity and the challenge that sometimes you go through. So I want to plead with you as we wait for that comprehensive response. If it was in other jurisdictions, you know it. By now, an elected missing, some people will have taken responsibility, personal responsibility. It has two aspects. Assume even in the worst case scenario, which is not in this case, that he has been abducted by criminal elements. Do you want to say that Kenya is a banana republic? Why are these criminal elements who have been abducting people, and so many people have been released, why are they not being taken into court? Waziri, you understand this. Me and you have gone to the same university. You understand this. That is not one of the tenets that we have been taught. It is not. It's completely outside that. Can this... You know, by now I think you are familiar with our culture. I have the entire community in Nairobi. So you can also imagine the burden. The entire community, because their leader is missing. I have to recharge my telephones every second, every minute, because of the calls. I have nothing to say. In fact, the assumption is, because I'm an experienced legislator and I've been around, I can talk to all of you and say, yes, I've talked to all of you. Everybody's in denial. What message will I say? So I want to plead with you. Whoever is holding this guy, and they know where they are, and please, wherever you are, you know yourselves. Release this MCL.
That's okay. We should work it
Allow
out.
me, Chairman, this.
Yeah, but
Release this MCL. If you have evidence enough that can warrant him, just like you have alluded, because all of us are accountable to the rule of law. That's what separates us. Take him to court. Thank you, Waziri.
Okay, kindly members, I want to guide us this. I think the CS had actually asked that we give time to give more updated and comprehensive response, latest. I appreciate the reasons and the ground why, of course, you need to say something, but maybe just to reinforce or the plea and what the Mheshimiwa Kenan is saying, I will give the two members briefly just to say something to the CS.
Thank you,
I
Chair.
understand.
Yes, and it's only fair that you give us a few minutes, Chair, and I appreciate that. Waziri, today, honestly, I'm not in the mood. Not just because I want it, because an MCA, an elected leader from my county, has been missing for the past 15 days. Today being 16th day. You mentioned you are not aware of the case. There's a communication from your office that we got through the chair on 24th that indeed the matter is under investigation. It's now 2 days since we got that investigation. And as a professor of law, the whole time you've been educating us on law, on how to safeguard the Constitution. From where I sit, I feel like we are applying the law, or we are implementing the Constitution selectively. When an elected leader is missing for the 16th day, don't you think he has all the rights to live? Don't you think as an elected member of parliament, he needs to be, he needs to be implementing and, doing the work he was elected for? That is something as a lawyer I want to understand. Two, Bwana Waziri, you said you don't want us to do abductions. Without an iota of doubt, I want to categorically say the government of Kenya is abducting the citizens of this country. Why I say that?
Mheshimiwa, kindly, you can only say that if you can substitute that.
I'm going there, Chair.
Kindly, the procedures.
Okay.
So withdraw that one, and you're a very smart legislator.
As I withdraw, Chair, let me just finish the statement. I say that because this honorable member, Mr. Waziri, got a summon from the security agencies 2 days later, he's abducted. Any person who thinks will know will add, the tabulations that indeed it's the security agencies. If indeed it's not the security agencies, Mr. Waziri, how hard is it for the security agencies to come and say we don't have this gentleman, Mr. Waziri? My other question is, if an elected member of parliament can be abducted, how safe are we as the citizens? Personally, because of the things I've been doing and going through the meetings in search of the honorable member, I feel threatened, to be honest. I don't know whether I'm safe as an elected member of parliament because of the things and the meetings we go. Honorable Kenan mentioned how my community works. The entire county is in Nairobi. It's expensive for us to maintain them. We don't sleep in our houses, Mr. Waziri. We are running from one place to another. At one point, if I take you to my house, more than 50 people are in the house because of the elected member. Mr. Waziri, I feel very, miserable that the people who elected me right now, who feel I can bring the elected MCA by just advocating and talking in parliament, that nothing can be heard, nothing can be done. Mr. Waziri, to be honest, I feel like we are in a failed state. When you take an elected member, he's a human being, he can do anything. Why do we have the courts? Why do we have the Constitution? You're a professor of law, Mr. Waziri. We are not happy from where we sit, even as a country, from Wajir, Mr. Waziri. Waziri, lastly, you said you initially started by condoning the extrajudicial killing and abductions. We want, when you say something, we mean it as a country. At the end of the day, the people who elected us are the people we work for. We will not support if they have done something wrong, Waziri. The entire Wajir country, from all the 6 constituencies today, are all out in demonstrating in the streets of Wajir, besides the government refusing to give them permit. We will not allow, Mr. Waziri. We will not allow our elected members to be disappearing. Then there's no need of us being elected in the first place. We rather stay home. We rather have a lawless country, Mr. Waziri. Okay. You are the Waziri I respect. I have a lot of regards for you. We want our honorable member back. We want our son back. We are not asking for much. He is in the hands of the security agencies. I don't know how to put more than that.
Thank you, Honorable Fatuma. I think you've been heard very well and clear. Vice Chair, Defense.
Thank you.
Henry, maybe try
Chairman,
to...
I left a meeting of Defense, and we adjourned that meeting, so Waziri will not be meeting us. We are adjourned for another day. Waziri, I want to echo my colleagues, Honorable Kenan and Honorable Fatuma, on this matter. Really, it's a painful situation as it is. When we talk about the police, where say we are not aware of this MCA, then it comes to our mind: do we have a gang that can really abduct an elected leader for 16 days, and the police are not really aware? And Honorable Kenan actually mentioned that, look, we are supporting Haiti on matters of dealing with gangs. And yet here we have a leader that is being abducted and we don't know where it is. And from where I sit, I know what is happening is that he is under the security agencies. The only thing is that because you are a professor of law and 24 hours has passed, now the issue of saying how do we hold him for this number of days is also coming up. In my place, in my concert quarters, Ramo, there was a demonstration because his siblings and his parents come from my place, even though they represent somewhere in Wajir. We are ready to forgive these agencies for holding him for all this number of days. Please let him be released. It's unfortunate. When I looked at the statement yesterday, and I contributed in the House, and I said, this is a shallow statement, just because you are not aware of the statement yourself. It didn't come through you. I look at the statements of the other responses. It's signed by Professor Kindiki. The other one, the one for the MCA Dela, is not signed by Professor Kindiki, and it's true, you are not aware. That shows that we are not putting efforts about this MCA. Here we're talking about insecurity, cattle rustling, ABCD. We have a leader who's missing for 16 days. My plea is that let us release this MCA. Whether abducted by whoever, it doesn't matter. The Kenyan security agencies have capacity to find out where he is, whether by themselves or by other gangs. So my plea, I repeat, is that let us find where the MCA is. I know there's an issue of 24 hours has lapsed. We have held him for all this number of days. There's issue of all these things are coming up, I know. But what I'm trying to tell you is that he has been held. I've been in the security industry myself. I worked with Kanoraso. And we have done some operations even before. We know. Let them release this MCA. Later, they can decide to take him to court or so. It doesn't matter. But the family is at pains. So mine is just to input that comment, and please take it serious. Even as you say that you want to do a statement later, let the statement come later, release him. You know where he is.
Okay, thank you. That is okay, Bashir. Lastly,
thank you, Chairman. I just want to be very brief, Waziri. In the last administration, two of my constituents are still missing. They were elders from Boran and Gabra communities. And their families are going through very painful experience. Coming from a security background, I personally feel the issues of abduction to enforce the law or extrajudicial killing will not help Kenya to maintain peace and harmony. It is a very weak system because it undermines intelligence, it undermines information. There are so many things it undermines. And I think the best thing to happen, if anybody is seen to be breaking the law, they must have their day in court. The intelligence system, investigative agencies must cobble together as much information as possible so that people like leaders, let them be arrested in a decent manner. But I think what is slowly happening, if in case this particular individual is being held by the security agencies, it's a very weak form of enforcing the law. And I think we, as administration under President Ruto, many of us who are in that administration and supporting it, I think we would not wish to go that route. Thank you, Chair.
Persons, poaching and ivory trade, organized crime like banditry and the rest, and drugs and so forth. Out of the police complement of 110,000, I speak from experience. We have some good officers in the service. However, I also speak with the same experience. We could have, and indeed we have, bad officers in the service. Otherwise, we cannot be talking about imperfections in our institutions. among those that are involved in responding to serious existential threats to our country's security, 99% of them are extremely, extremely, extremely unlikely to misuse that power. And I'm speaking again from experience. I have been to every corner of this country, the most dangerous locations of our soil. I have been there. I have seen what they do, what they go through. I have seen young men, barely in their mid-50s, but very specially trained. They have lost life, they have lost limb as they fight terrorists and other sophisticated criminals, bandits, etc. So my thinking, and even as we handle this and a few other outstanding matters we have, remember the northern part of our country, we continue to work on the security there because for many years, for as long as Kenya has existed, we've had all these challenges. They have not started last year or this year. There were some foreigners also who were abducted in that general area of Marsabit. And we are on the trail. A bit complicated, a bit sensitive, but we are on the trail to also pursue, just as we are on the trail of this matter, because whether the person is arrested by whoever, first of all, if it is an arrest, the person will be presented to a court of law. That's what the law says. For terrorism and other sophisticated crimes, if you read the Prevention of Terrorism Act, there is a bit of leeway to allow special processing, which is from the Constitution itself, that has exceptions and derogations on certain automatic rights to deal with certain public security, public interest matters. That's why, for example, you see, like in the Shakahola suspects, we held that suspect without charging him for 1 year plus. You cannot do that for another suspect. Some other crimes, you cannot hold them even for more than 24 hours. You'll have problems with the court. So what we are saying, and this is my very humble request to you, Chair, and the committee, I would want to respond on this matter in a more comprehensive manner. Again, in the spirit of the urgency of the matter, I can submit to the committee what I require, the report, I mean the statement on where we are on this missing person whom we don't know. We don't know who took him. I know my brother here said that he knows, or I know who has this person. I don't. I'm a patriotic Kenyan. I love Kenya with the whole of my heart, and beyond this job, I will not be part of any scheme to harm an innocent Kenyan and present them to grave danger or even risk their lives. So I actually don't know who has these people, but whoever it is, whether criminal gangs, whether law enforcement agencies acting outside their mandates, we will get to the bottom of it. And therefore, in the same 24-hour cycle, as I submit the supplementary information, I'll also submit what I will have signed off as the status of this matter. And then, Chair, you can guide how you communicate that to the committee. And if the committee also requires me again back, I will be more than happy to comply with the request to come back for a verbal interaction on that matter. I submit, and I'm very sorry for what has happened to the leader and the other cases that we are tracking of people just getting lost, and it should not happen. But please bear with us, we are trying our best. We just have an imperfect system, and many countries around the world, maybe not the same measure, but they still have some imperfections they are working on. And I want to assure Kenya, I will not be the minister for Kenya's security who will sit down and plan how the people of Kenya can get harmed by anybody. It is wrong, it is illegal, it is sacrilegious, and it undermines our democracy completely. We have no business sitting here. If we could even countenance for a moment that someone who is innocent or someone who needs to be arrested and taken to court is being held somewhere for fun, whatever that fun is, it is evil, it's unacceptable. So in 24 hours, I will sign off a statement which can go to the records. I request to withdraw the advance copy that was signed, and in 24 hours, I will send a signed copy which can be subject to further interrogation. I submit.
Thank you so much, Waziri. Of course, I'm convinced the members are satisfied with their response, and we look forward to a comprehensive response in 24 hours as you had committed together with the rest. So as we prepare to wind up, Mheshimiwa Ngelechei, I'm seeing Commissioner again, and Commissioner, what is it?
Chair, I wanted to talk about this issue of abduction, but it's gone. But now that we have been told that the minister will not be going to Senate, and for the mere fact that it has been difficult to get the minister, particularly to me, I would wish, Chair, through you, that we have a small session with the minister before he goes, with the committee.
I think that has to be off record.
Chair will guide, and I'm sorry for not being as available as I would have wanted, and thank you, Chair. You'll guide us. I was actually to appear before the National Assembly Committee on Defense on the Laikipia training, the Batuk issues. So I hope, Chair, you'll assist me to talk to your counterpart so that he doesn't think you advise.
Already.
Thank you. But I hope you, okay, thank you very much.
Of course, they had written me a lot of SMSs.
Yeah, but it's this nature. In fact, what we do maybe in future, my suggestion, if you allow me, Chair, is we have maybe 3-4 hours when I appear here. We take maybe from as early as possible to lunchtime, so that we exhaust as much possible most of these things. In any case, I'm appearing before plenary next Wednesday. So again, that's another opportunity to ventilate on some of the issues through supplementary questions.
Thank you so much, but nevertheless, we really appreciate it. The accumulated backlog of statement and question could be attributed to the issue of dissolution of cabinet before. So it's well understood. So as we wind up, Honorable Ngelechei wanted something to do with the payment of NPR. So maybe what was it?
Yeah, I just wanted to bring to the attention of the CS that there is a problem in the remuneration of NPRs. There is some inconsistencies. Some OCPDs stay with their money for long, others accumulate for several months, others disrespect the Raya NPR and not even pay them. So kindly harmonize and ensure that at least there's something small they are getting gets to them. Thank you.
Effective next month, we have said no more cash payments. The money will be sent directly by M-Pesa to the police reservist.
Of course, you should have also challenged her and us that maybe moving forward in the issue of budget, we see a way of enhancing it at the same time.
When you see our requests, you know those requests has to secure your people. Please support us with the budget.
So thank you so much, members. Thank you, Waziri. We have to adjourn, is already one, and we really appreciate you had really helped us a great deal. We had too much backlog. Thank you.
Beko, #1 brand in Europe. In this video, I'm going to show you how to find and choose the best possible research topic for your thesis or dissertation in the shortest amount of time. Plus, I'm going to tell you how you can get free feedback